What's up, collectors? Pete Rockzilla back at another review this week. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Play Arts Kai Final Fantasy VII Remake, Sephiroth. This game is amazing. It's based off the recent remake of the Final Fantasy game. It's amazing. If you never played the original, then I still think the original was better than the new one. The new one, yeah, it is prettier. And it does, bring the story a little more smoother. But just the original one, I don't know, it had more depth for me. It had more character build. It just felt better to me. Maybe just the old school turn-based RPG stuff that I still love these days. So, anyways, this guy is one of the best looking and villains you would hate the most out of video games. He's cool and everything when you first see him, but he does this one scene that he does this one thing particular that is gonna get people upset. If you, I don't want to spoil for people who haven't played the game yet, but just that's the only thing I'll tell you. This guy's gonna get on your nerves. He's gonna be one of those villains where, like King Joffrey from Game of Thrones, where you just hated that guy, but he looks cool sometimes. So but you still hated the guy. Always wishing that he would probably turn the other side. Anyways, let's get this review started. Dale. Okay, let's take a look at the box before we get the figure out. So, of course, right here you got a little nice display of the figure there, the character, some reflective seal lettering there. You get your official seal over here. Turn to the side, you get Final Fantasy VII. Turn to the back, you get all the legal information, the mumbo jumbo right there. More pictures of Sephiroth right there. And then underneath, you get the Play Arts Kai. Same thing on the side and top. Then when you open it, you get this cool scene right here from Sephiroth when you see him in the game. I remember that scene. That freaking dude, man. And of course, here's the clamshell. You open it up and you get to see the figure inside there. Can't wait to open this guy up. You know I'm a sucker for those large swords, so let's get this dude out the box. So this is what you're greeted with once you get the box out the way. And we get the figure in here. You get that first clamshell off, and this is what you have here. So you have the figure. Let's take this first clamshell out the way. Move this one back. And here, as you can see, you got the different hand swaps. You got the figure, the nice sword, second face sculpt, and then behind that clamshell, you get the bottom one, which basically has the base, the stand, and the two different clamps. Same thing as if you see my other reviews from the Nier Automata, and yeah, I think that's the only one I actually used the base for. So it's like it's almost the same type base, just different shape of the base right here. But same setup. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get him and all the accessories out of the box. We take a closer look at him and all the accessories. Laying there with all the accessories, and look at the size of that sword, man. Woo! I love it, man. Look at this thing. It's bigger than him. Ah. I'm telling you, when I first saw him in the game, I was like, oh, I hope you can use that character. Come to find out he's the main antagonist. So, nope. You cannot use him. But this sword is beautiful. I normally look at the figure first, but I gotta look at the sword first here. So it's not metal, as you can tell, but it does have that good paint on it where it does gleam in the light, so it does look metal, especially at at the actual blade portion. Here's more dull in the back, so that looks realistic right there. Now, when you get onto the figure, you would normally have to take off this bottom portion right here, unpeg that, and then we'll go ahead and get one of the sword wielding hands. Slide that into there, just like that. And then you just put this peg back in here. It only goes one certain way. If you can look at the detail here, it's like a U-shaped, L-shaped, I mean. And then, so does that. So you gotta make sure you get it into the right position, which is this one right here. And there you go. So this is how you would have him wielding the sword, and how you'll get onto the hands. So while we got the hands here, let's look at the other hands we have here. So we have another sword wielding hand right here. Then you got the two open hands, actually 4 open hands right there. Just different positions. That sword, dang, it's hitting the camera and everything. So as you can see there, so you got all the swords there. I mean the swords, all the hands with the sword. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that down right here. Then you get the second face sculpt. There's part in the scene. If you played the game, you know what scene this is from. Where he's kind of like praying, sleeping type. So to swap that out with the figure, you would just basically grab the figure here. hold the back of the head and pull the bangs out. Once you pull the bangs out, you can see the figure right there. And then you just basically slide this forward. Put that on there. Put the bangs on. And there you got the different face sculpt on there. So I like the way I'm transitioning to stuff. So let's go ahead and just look at the figure now while we have him in hand here. There goes Sephiroth with that shiny silver long hair. This guy was cool. This guy was like if I remember correctly, at least to me, in video games and stuff like that, with the first person or villain or character to have this real long hair and not be a female. But with him, it came out cool. You can see, look how long his hair is. Now, one thing I noticed too when I took the head sculpt off is the back of his hair right here, the bottom portion, there's actually a joint down there. So this is actually articulated. So as you can hear it, so you can actually twist it to kind of have it like the wind's blowing. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know that when I first got the figure. Of course, as you can see, I'll just take the head off real quick just so you can see that joint down there. So as you can see, the joint's right there. It's a ball joint, ratcheted. So that's good to know and good to have. Now, the only thing that's a pain is getting that head back in there. It's giving me a little bit of issue. Like, don't get that. There we go. Now I got the pop. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of the body. Let me bring my light up a little bit more just so we can see more detail on the actual figure right here in the costume. All right. So you have the nice shoulder pads right here. These are posable separate. You got the nice detail on his belt. You got the nice detail going around his shoulder pads, his bracelet. These are not really movable. And then you got the more shoulder pads here. You got all the buttons and zippers going down his jacket. You got the boots. Maybe bring this back. We can take a closer look at his clothes underneath. So it's kind of like a blackish, brownish color underneath. You can see all the detail on the boots right there. That's nice. The hair, man, I love this freaking hair. This hair is beautiful. If I was a villain, I'd probably have hair like this. Maybe not silver. I don't know, some different color. All right, so we got him out as like articulation. So let's see. The shoulders, you gotta be careful with this thing up here. I don't know what's holding that in place really. I can't really see. Maybe it's a joint. Looks like it might be a joint down there. So he could move the hands out. Let's see how far he can go up. He can go a little bit hard. I think he can go a little bit higher. Gotta be careful pulling that up. No, maybe not. So he can probably go up. Pretty sure you go a little higher, but I got a little resistance there. I don't want to take a chance of breaking my figure. So you'll get a joint there. Elbow does bend. You get full bend at the elbow. You get twist at the bicep. And then the hand can go up. Let's bring this hand a little bit out. Let's bring this out. So it's like a joint. You could kind of pull a little bit to kind of get more bend. All right, so you can get the hands like that. Let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. And let's bring this up. So you can do the muscle flex. You can do the elbow off the top rope. All right, so let's see if he has his head can go. Now, of course, you're limited with the head articulation because of the collar and the hair. So you can finagle that a little bit, kind of move the bangs out. And if you do that, you kind of get more articulation going that way. So just mess around with it, you can get articulation. So his head does go down pretty good. You can look way down. Move his elbows out the way. And if you articulate the hair, let's see, he can look further up. It's kind of hard to see all the hair there. All right, so then let's go to the waist. He does have articulation at the waist, so he can twist it. So that's a good separate piece. The jackets are not combined, so it's like the bottom part of the jacket is just on the lower body. So he can move that way. He can go back about that much and go forward, not much there forward. So you don't get much forward ab crunch, but you do go back. Of course, his legs might be hindered because of the jacket. So they are ratcheted joints. You can get them pretty high. Not much of a Hogan boot here. Maybe to Rey Mysterio, that's about it. You do get, ooh, that's nice. That's nice. Look at that. double jointed knees. You know, he didn't really do this much in the game, but still kind of shows that little ugly kneecap there, but that's fine. And that's good articulation there. You get twist and you get thigh twist. Thigh. You get the thigh action right there. You get the thigh twist. I like that. I like that a lot. I like it a lot. There we go. All right. So the ankles, you do get fully posable down. You can go pretty way up. And nope, no, well, maybe a little bit. Pivot, but you could get twist. So I could tell already his joints probably feel the most solid of all the figures I have so far. At least in the ankle. The arm is a different joint. You kind of like when you pull it down, you can kind of feel the arm coming out like a butterfly joint. Just got to push it up, push it in more. But the good thing is you could pull it down to get more articulation. So that's a plus. So let's go ahead and just have them like that. I'm trying to see what else. Oh, so let's see how far forward his legs can go. Did that already real quick. But of course, because I said because of the jacket, you could split it open right there and still get some out. So you could do some of a, you know, ballerina Olympic pose type thing going on there. He could do split. Let's see how far he can go. How far can you go? He could go further just because of the jacket. So he does have good articulation for the way his costume is. And all the hindrance you have up from the hard plastic or the most like a soft plastic for the suit. I like the fact that this is articulated. It's gonna come cool in some poses. All right. So we have Sephiroth. We showed off his hands. The base, just basic base. You take this peg right here, poke it into whatever position you want. You can adjust this. This is a little bit loose, but you can always get a screwdriver and just tighten that right there. Pick whichever clamp you want to use there. Clamp it around. You can pick, if you want to do around his waist, use a smaller clamp. Maybe get around his leg or something. You want to do some kind of dynamic posing. So you have options there, people. All right. So let me get him ready for a size comparison. So let's see how Sephiroth fits in with your other collection. I had to make sure I drank some water, man, because I just heard that last skit, and you can tell how dry my mouth was in the beginning of the skit, so I had to make sure I corrected that. But anyways, let's get to the size comparison. So let's go ahead and bring in, of course, his arch enemy, Cloud Strife. So as you can see, he is obviously taller than Cloud, which how he was in the game. And then, of course, let's bring in my baby girl, yo, my baby right here. Tifa, that's my girl, so I had to have her. Anytime I have to put any kind of characters in, I gotta make sure she gets some camera time because she deserves it. And I get this question asked a lot, where how do these figures scale to Hot Toys? So of course, I'm gonna bring in a Hot Toys figure that most collectors now have, and it's gonna be Captain Rex, the Hot Toys Captain Rex. So as you can see, they're not that far off from Hot Toys. You know, the size is they're smaller. They're not 6 scale, but you know, I'm not sure what scale they'll fall under. 9th. I mean, not 6th, 5th, 4th. I don't know. 9th. No, it's not. I don't know. So scale stuff. Anyways, so there you go. That's how Sephiroth will fit in your collection of your PlayArts Kai and your Hot Toy figures. So let's go ahead and get to the final poses. A dynamic pose for my boy Sephiroth here. So I kind of wanted to reenact some kind of scene I had in my mind, just, you know, something that was in my mind. So I figured this would be a good one. I never really used the bases before with these Final Fantasy figures, so I kind of wanted to test the base too. So it looks like it actually holds them pretty good. I mean, I did have some issues where I had to actually tighten the screws on the joints for the base, and unfortunately on my right hand of Sephiroth, when I was trying to swap out the hands, the peg actually came out with the hand, which is not supposed to happen. So it was a pain in the butt for me to actually get that hand off that peg. It may have caused a little damage to it where now the peg is a little loose, but I got my Kiki Fix-It thing to apply to that. I can do that after the review. So I'm gonna give that, this is a good test for that solution that I have to see if it really does work for some pretty bad joints, because I kind of had to loosen that joint, that ball peg a little bit to get that hand out, unfortunately. So it hurted me, but it's the price I had to pay to get the poses I want to get. So like I said, it's fixable. But Sephiroth is a cool figure, man. I mean, I wasn't expecting much from this figure. I thought it was gonna be like a, you know, like a static almost static type pose character. I mean, he was mostly in that, so I thought the figure was going to kind of be the same way too. But man, you can get away with a lot of poses with this guy. So I really like him a lot. The hair surprised me. The soft, malleable parts of it is really good to move to the side and mess with. And that one posable long piece of hair there is good for kind of what I want to do here, where it's kind of floating down from the air and everything. You know, unfortunately, Aerith is not noticing that he's behind her. There is Sephiroth standing there with his iconic sword. Oh my god, I love that thing. It's actually pretty durable, because I ain't gonna lie, I dropped it maybe once or twice already, and not even a dent to it. So it is pretty durable plastic, so that's a good thing to know. You know, just in case if it does fall off a shelf, it should resist the impact. But hey, I didn't make the figure, so don't quote me, don't hold me to my word. I'm just saying, my experience so far, the 2 drops, it's been good to go. So other than the peg coming out the hand, that's the only issue I really had with the figure. I mean, nothing else is really a problem. The face is easy to swap out. The hair is easy to take off. The head was easy to put on. I just didn't put enough pressure to get that pop on the neck when I put it back in. The hair, you know, it takes a little used to getting. You have to get used to kind of like posing it. So it is a little kind of weird system, but it does its job good for what you pay for, what you get with this figure. I wasn't expecting that back here portion of his hair to be posable, so that was a plus for me. The clothes, like the soft plastic for the actual jacket, is pretty malleable, so it's easy to get some poses off without it hindering it too much. Just from the sides, it hinders more. Just like if you're trying to do like the split, that's where you get more of the hindering. But Sephiroth, I don't think, if I recall correctly, never really did a split in the game anyway, so that's not a pose I was trying to pull off anyways. The hair looks perfect. This figure looks good, man. I mean, like I said, it blew my, you know, it didn't blow my mind. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting some kind of static posing figure, but he actually does pose good. And one thing I did forget to mention he does actually have toe articulation too. I just forgot to show that during the previous part. I didn't realize it until I was trying to mess around with the figure, but his toes do articulate. Only negative, like I said, the same with the ankle pegs. The ankle pegs are kind of a pain in the butt in this line, but you know, as long as you get solid ones, you're good to go. If not, you know, you can pick up some Kiki Fix-It, get that fixed right there. But the figure is good, man. I would not hesitate on purchasing this guy if you were kind of waiting on him. I only needed him to kind of complete my set. I had the team already. You know, I have Red, Tifa, Aerith, Barrett, Cloud, and I basically needed him to complete the set for me. Unfortunately, I'm not that much of a fan when it comes to the actual figure form. I'm not gonna get some of the other figures, you know, like the less known characters. I'm gonna just stick to the main characters that I know. Of course, Sephiroth here, and I can't wait till they make some more figures from the next part of the game. No spoilers. But as always, people, I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you stay safe. I hope you keep collecting. I hope you have a good one. And as always, keep collecting, people. I know I said that already, but I just want to make sure, people, even in these hard times, keep collecting. Make sure you're staying doing things that make you happy, and that's the key to life, just staying happy. So as always, dale.